Welcome back to another Metal Gear Solid collection video, and it has been a hot minute since we've done one of these. 2 years, maybe? But I've not stopped collecting, and with Delta around the corner, I feel it was just a good time to start doing these again. SEO, anyone? And we're going to start this video with some early 2000s variants that I've picked up in the intervening years, mainly Metal Gear Solid 2 ones. First up, we've got the OG Xbox version of Substance, which actually is the first release of Substance, even before the PS2 one in Japan, which I had no idea about. And this one I really like because it's got just a pure Snake cover, like Snake only. And maybe that was an effort to keep the twist that is now, to be fair, pretty infamous, and even at the time pretty, like, it got out pretty quick, but maybe that was to keep that on the down low. On the back, I don't know how to describe it. It's square, but I associate this game with hexagons, and I don't know, it just seems pretty jarring to see it like that. And he's also very prominent on the disc itself, really hinting for those that this is a full Snake experience. Like, if you don't know, like, you're like, mate, this is the one. This is Snake all day, every day. And unfortunately, it does just have this big green inlay, like, which was obviously very common with, not common, it was universal with Xbox games at the time. So no, like, kind of hidden art behind, like, the PS2 versions. Manual-wise, this is the same with the single Snake image, but it does have an advert for Silent Hill 2 Restless Dreams on the back, which I've never heard of before. And apparently it's a separate release, kind of like a director's cut, similar to how Substance is. And also, inside, all squares on the character profiles, and I know for a fact that the other ones are hexagons. And I don't know why I'm getting so fucking hung up on hexagons, but that was very noticeable to me, and it's pissing me off. Next, we have the European version of Substance, which wasn't released for nearly 6 months after the North American one, and like 3 months after the Japanese one. It was released in Europe simultaneously with the PS2 and PC ones in March of 2003. So we're back to what I consider the classic kind of Substance cover, even though I've now discovered after buying that one that it's actually not the original cover. And fun fact, it's actually the cover for the Sons of Liberty comic, reimagined by Ashley Wood. With respect and admiration to Yoji Shinkawa. On the back, we finally have hexagons. Yay. Hexagons on hexagons, in fact, which weirdly quite prominently next to this Made in the UK massive sign that it has on it, which explains the British Film Board classification, like the 15 on it, the age rating, which we don't really get on games anymore. I think it's more of a standardized system across kind of Europe. The other versions, PC and the PS2 one, don't have that, so a bit of a unique feature. Now this version is a lot less value than the PlayStation 1. First off, no skateboarding minigame. That is PS2 exclusive. Boo, quite frankly. It doesn't have the making of document of MGS2 DVD thing, which was supposedly to make up for the late release in Europe, but only if you have a PS2 apparently, which was the best-selling version. But apparently, yeah, if you had a PS2, you were just winning, and Xbox and PC, not so much. And it does actually have the same exact content as the PC one, which actually leads it to having the same back as the PC one as well, like identical. Inside, it's the same green inlay as the previous one, just green branding galore, and no Silent Hill advert this time, just a Xbox controller layout. So if you need to consult the manual while you're literally playing the game, I guess. Although thinking about it, that's actually not insane for this series so far. Now the character profiles this time actually are hexagons, but with Dead Cell being in squares, which is curious. I wonder if that's to like separate the protagonists from the antagonists, but Ocelot is in a hexagon. I don't know. And the PS2 one actually doesn't have, when I looked at the manuals, have character profiles at all, which I guess was to make room for the controls, maybe for the skateboarding minigame. Fuck knows. But yeah, we're back to hexagons inside. Big fan, big fan. I also love this helpline in the back. Like Samaritans, but for like big shell. And calls cost 75p a minute. That is nearly £1 a minute then, which is fucking nuts. That said, do you kind of want to ring it? I wonder what it is now. Now, we've got a real anomaly. A Japanese version. My only Japanese version of Metal Gear Solid 2. And I know next to nothing about it. I found it in a retro game shop in York. And I was like, I have to buy this. Because I'd just never seen it. The shop was called Sore Thumbs, I believe. If not, I will put it in the description. And apparently this is the Konami Dendou edition.
Dendou.
It's from 2004, so same year as Snake Eater. And from what I can gather, the Dendou versions are like budget re-releases of core games before the next one comes out. So like, there was a Silent Hill 2 version before 3 came out, and like this one, there's a Metal Gear Solid 2 one before Metal Gear Solid 3 came out. I think that's what they are. But the cover is just this like picture frame with like filigree around it, and the word Konami plastered around the side, and a tiny little version of like the international cover, which is usually in red, but it's in blue. Again, I don't know why. And obviously the obligatory Hideo Kojima game in the bottom, only small, but it's there. Also, no mention of substance on it, so I'm going to assume that this is just a standard release of the original again, and not the substance version with all the bells and whistles that go with that. Now, the back I find very interesting. This is the earliest example of anything that I own and I can find of this like white back with the grid style blurb, which has a ton of text that I obviously can't read, and 16 screenshots. So now this style of the backs was used for a lot of stuff in the later 2000s, sort of MGS4 onwards, to potentially, I guess, unify the releases. Like, you look at them, you look at the back and like, oh, that's a Metal Gear Solid game, maybe. So like my version of MGS4 has it, specifically the Dissolve slipcase version. The Japanese version of Walker Standalone has it, and the general release of the 2012 HD collection for PS3 has it as well. Now inside, on first inspection, initially less interesting, a unique print, for me at least, of the disc, and then just this like this blank plastic, no manual. I assume it must have come with a manual, but this version didn't that I bought. But then I did notice this little hints of blue on the inside, and I was like, surely not. Surely so. Absolutely fucking mint. I had a nosy, and I've never seen this blue version of the artwork anywhere, so I guess you could flip it round and have an alternate cover. Absolutely class, and I only found this while doing this video, so that's absolute bonus. I'm a sucker for an alternate cover. Dawn of War, Dark Crusade, best example in my opinion, but this is a pretty close second because I've just found it. Lastly, today we have my favourite game with probably my least favourite cover of any of them I have. A real downer for the end, and it is the North American version of Snake Eater, and it's horrific. We've got like this half Yoji Shinkawa at the top, and then what looks like the early test footage version of Snake that you can see usually in the Snake Eater song bit. Yeah, like a nuke going off in the background. Like, I don't know. I'm just not a fan. And the back, right, Mr. Graphic Design is my passion looking shit. It looks like one of those really like ass shooters from like the early 2000s. What's it fucking called? America's Most Wanted, where the last boss is Bin Laden. Check that out. That is real. I guess maybe it's just more like they wanted it more generic for like a broad appeal to the US market, maybe. But I hate it. I hate it. Hate it. Now, inside, I could argue, actually gets worse. Like, on the disc, you can't even see the font. Like, you could say it's representing camouflage, I guess. But, oh man, it just looks bad. I will give it that the manual got a little more sauce than the European one, like, for sure. But, you know, you compare this to, like, just the normal European release one, and it's night and day, mate. And they do this with MGS4 as well. I feel like, to an extent, it's not as egregious as this one, but, like, the cover's so drastically different, and I think that's a disappointment. But, completionist's sake, we gotta have it. We gotta have it. And that's it for today. Did you have the Xbox version of Substance back in the day before literally anyone else in the world, apparently in North America? Do you know what the hell a Dendou actually is? Do you actually like this version of the cover? If you do, like, actually explain why, and I might be convinced. I doubt it, but I might be. If you like the vid, get it a like. You disliked it, give it a dislike. Double like, please subscribe, and I'll see you around, John. Bye.